Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for finding the time to do this with me.
Yeah, of course.
You've been a judoka for about 3 years, but...
Yeah, almost 4, yeah.
Right, okay, so let's say almost 4 years,
Yeah.
but training very intensively.
Yeah, like 5-6 times per week.
Okay.
Basically every week. And yeah, for instance, sometimes even twice per day. So yeah, really into it.
And you're also, I think what's significant to mention is you also go to what you describe to a old school dojo, where they're not giving out belts for free.
Yeah, it's actually the dojo is open since 1964, I think. So you can already picture, and it didn't change. You can see the photos from back then, and it's the same that is right now. So yeah, but it's not so common to have like such old school dojos actually in judo, at least in Spain. So yeah. And
eventually you got your brown belt.
Yeah.
You did some competitions.
Yeah.
And something happened that inspired you to go to BJJ. So tell me a bit about that. Like what happened that made that transition?
I was by a personal experience. I was, how to say, got interested in other martial arts, and then I told you this story that that I saw some white BJJ belts trashing some judo black belts in the ground game. And that already was my first impression. I was like, okay, there's something going on here. Like, how is supposed like a white belt in BJJ is trashing so easily a black belt? I was like, okay, but I didn't like give it too much of. I was like, okay, maybe it's just something random, you know.
Just want to ask, was it happening? Did it happen in the dojo that you're going to, or you saw it online?
No, I saw it in. Because then I moved to another city to study, and then I saw it in the gym where I train over there. Because
so some BJJ white belt came in.
Yeah, because they teach judo, and well, they only taught BJJ, but at that point they were starting to teach judo as well. So yeah, kind of it was like the first meetup between BJJ guys and judokas. And yeah, I saw that and I was like, phew, okay. And then, as I told you, I moved from city to start studying, and then COVID started, and my coach over there was like, so yeah, the judo coach canceled the lessons because of COVID, but then my other coach, my BJJ coach, kind of like still went giving BJJ lessons.
That was your future BJJ coach. He wasn't training you yet.
No, he was not training me yet. I was like, oh my god, what to do now? Like judo is closed. I have nothing to do. And he was like, why don't you come and train BJJ? Because he's the BJJ coach and also the owner of the gym. So he told me, why don't you come try out BJJ? And then I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then I just during this year in which I couldn't train judo, I kind of got hooked by BJJ and just start, as I told you, going like from Monday to Saturday, twice per day, every day. So yeah.
So there's
BJJ caught my attention, definitely.
There's in my guessing, there's a very important moment that happened during that time, which kind of was kept silent during the story. That moment of experiencing yourself for the first time. So you're a judo brown belt, and you go to BJJ. So what were your expectations, and was reality different than expectations?
Yeah, like I remember my first training, I went like, oh, I'm gonna trash everybody out in like a standing game.
Okay.
And okay, kind of happened, you know, but...
was it a beginner's class, like white belt?
Yeah. And,
so you were good at standing, right?
Yeah, I was like, okay. But I also, so yeah, I suppose that I was gonna be better than them in the standing game, and it was like that.
Right.
But then I was like, yeah, in the ground game, they can be good, but I think I'm gonna be better because, you know, in judo we learn some, basic ground game.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fine for me, blah, blah. And then I remember, just to go for the takedown and so to go for the takedown, do the takedown, and after 2 seconds, just giving my back and getting choked. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to start thinking that I'm not that good in the ground game. And I think it's like when you don't know, it's like you are kind of innocent, you know, you are like, it's not that bad, blah, blah. And then you see what the reality is and Then we also have 2 black belts in my gym. So I was like, I saw them rolling, and I was like, that feels like another completely different sport, you know?
Sure, it's a different planet.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god. And so I saw, coming from judo, I thought like ground game was just these little things that were teaching me there. And then I saw like there was way like many more things. I was like, oh my god, it's just not like these 5-6 techniques that we teach in judo. It's like,
and you sit there and turtle for 10 seconds and you stand up.
exactly. And then I was seeing these guys and I was like, oh my god, there is like a whole different world, like with not only because also as I told you, like my gym is specialized in leg locks as well. So like they were doing leg locks and I was like, what is this? Like what's going on, you know? So yeah, that was a really shocking moment for me. And but kind of what I don't know why, because for instance I like judo more, but the thing is like
still today.
Now it's getting
it's evening out. Right?
Yeah, it's getting at the same point.
But still, would you consider yourself a judoka before, like, if let's say, and you don't necessarily like, you know, it's kind of you don't necessarily have to have an identity.
Yeah.
But if you have to choose one or the other, you'd more.
Yeah, I would say judoka just for the fact that I've been training judo longer.
True.
Actually, but if I would ask me, when they ask me, I always say like. For instance, when I come to a new gym, I say like I've been doing BJJ for almost a year and judo for almost 4 years. So doesn't matter if I go to a judo class or to a BJJ class. They know that.
Yeah, that makes.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was the point. No, and what I was wanted to tell you is that like at that point I liked judo more, but for some reason BJJ, like I don't know, like I always wanted to come back. You know, even they were trashing me out at the beginning. It was super frustrating. For the first 2-3 months, like it was so hard. I was like, oh my god, like nothing works. And I was like, oh my god, I've been training judo for a long time, and I thought that it would work out, and it doesn't. So I was like, oh my god. So yeah, for 3 months, I told you like even sometimes I could came back home and just not cry, but be like, oh my god, like seriously,
emotional shock.
Yeah, like I was like, oh my god. And yeah, for some reason, like I always then like came back to the gym. It's like I was like. I don't want to go, like they are trashing me out. It's like, for what am I going? And at some point I was finding myself back at the gym, you know, it's like I think it was already like automatic. Also the fact that during the pandemic, in Spain was really on a shitty moment. Lockdown. So basically I couldn't do anything else. No bars, no nothing, no like, it was staying at home. Or you could go training if you had this like certificate that you are like a federated athlete, and I had it, so I could go to train. So yeah, it was like mainly my escape from getting out from home and taking some air. So that I was always going to training.
Was the atmosphere more preferable for you in BJJ than in judo? Like, you know, the community, the people, the coach.
Yeah. I don't have many. So there has been 3 places. Where I've trained judo and BJJ, like 3 different cities, and maybe it's just coincidence. I don't know. I don't want to generalize, but in the 3 places, in the 3 cities, BJJ people were more open and more welcoming. Because I told you when I was living I lived in Klaipeda for a year and a half, and I was training judo during that whole time because I was not training BJJ yet. And man, in that whole year and a half, I didn't make. Okay, I could speak, but no, like hi, how are you, blah blah, and but that's pretty much it. And then first day BJJ in A-Force in Klaipeda, like I ended up like with 3 guys invited me to take a beer after training something, and I was like, I thought it was something about Lithuanian people, you know, but then I saw that like. When I was training judo, I was like, okay, maybe Lithuanians are cold, blah, blah. But then I came to the BJJ training and it was completely opposite. And I made like so many friends from the BJJ team. And also, like, okay, this day, let's meet, watch some UFC, take some beers. Like, and I was like, oh my God, in a year and a half in judo, like nobody ever talked to me outside of the whole lesson. And then in BJJ, it was like completely different thing. And I was like, okay, but then as I told you, then in the other gym in other city same. I was training judo for like a couple of months over there. Like before, I moved to this city. I trained judo for a year, and then the coronavirus started. So when I was training judo, like the atmosphere there was, I mean, the coach was great. I loved that coach, but the thing is like the atmosphere was not welcoming at all. Just like the guys training, yeah, same case. Like never did anything outside of the lesson with any conversation. And then I went to this BJJ team, and more of the same, like let's meet up for a coffee before training, or let's do this and this. I have the feeling like BJJ is more like a family, you know, more like a community, yeah. I think that maybe because it's more modern, not so traditional, maybe, I mean...
I think there's that point as well, and I'd add, and we had this conversation a little bit before, but when I was asking myself that same question, because Aikido tends to be also more cold, and it's also traditional, but then there's the whole subject of what makes a martial art traditional, and many people mistake that a traditional martial art means old, which is not true. Like Judo is fairly new, Aikido is fairly new, BJJ comes from Judo essentially, but still around that same time. Aikido actually was created later than BJJ. So having said all that, the way I define traditional martial arts, it's martial arts which put a high focus on tradition. Like it's a high priority. So making sure you bow and making sure you sit properly, you have the right uniform. Like probably in Judo dojo, it wouldn't fly if you would come in like with a black gi. In BJJ, you can come with a pink gi.
Yeah,
and everyone's gonna be fine.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the things. What I came here is that I was worried that maybe in some BJJ gym they were gonna tell me something because I trained with my judo gi.
Right.
And then I found out like nothing at all. But yeah, then I saw some cases of like I saw once one BJJ guy going to a judo lesson with a black gi, and everybody was like, "What are you doing? Like, you get out from here!" You know, it's like and. Yeah, it was like, I could definitely feel like, yeah, people didn't really care.
The other thing that I wanted to add there as well, which when I was thinking about that question, what came up is that Japanese and Asian tradition, from what I gather, is very conservative, very traditional. They put a lot of focus on tradition and how things should be done. And while the Brazilian culture, from what I hear, is the opposite. It's like, screw the government, screw the rules. Yeah. And I wonder, and I have a fair guess, that probably that's related. Like the reason, BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, maybe we took some of that culture where there's traditions are still somewhat there, but nobody really like bothers about them too much.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but it's kind of curious because I can tell you one thing I'm going to tell you. Okay, not in my gym, which is traditional, so there doesn't happen.
I mean dojo, like
dojo,
dojo.
Judo dojo, yeah. That there doesn't happen, but in the other judo dojo that I was training, the people is not bowing anymore. And I was like, but I think it's like it's the modernization of judo that I told you. Like people don't even take it as a martial art anymore. That's the feeling I have. Like people don't take it so much as a martial art, but already a sport. You know, which it's not already. I need to go for this takedown. It's already how can I score this point? So the referee, or how can I make the other guy to make some fault, so the referee is gonna penalize him and give me some points. Before it was not like that. Before it was like do or die, you know, go take him down, don't care about the points, don't care about the penalizations. So yeah, and I was quite shocked because in the BJJ even it's not something so traditional. People was usually bowing before entering the mat, bowing and just not so officially as we used to do in judo. But yeah, they were just bowing and going in, and then in judo they were doing nothing, and I was like, okay, that's surprising.
Well, to come back to you a little bit more, how did your judo friends take the fact that you started going to BJJ? Was there something happening there?
Not really, because in this in the new judo dojo that I told you, the second one, as I told you, like
you didn't really have friends, right?
People was not communicating with me, but so then nothing really happened. But the thing is, like in my traditional dojo, how to say, they had a good opinion about BJJ, but because it already, like some case like mine already happened, there is a judo black belt who is also a BJJ brown belt. that kind of went same path as me. Like he was doing judo and then he saw BJJ like 2006, so pretty old school. And he was like, oh my god, maybe BJJ works. And yeah, he was training BJJ for a long time, and then kind of the people like started looking at him not in such a good way. But at the end, with the time, like they ended up convincing because the students wanted him to teach them judo students wanted him to teach them some BJJ ground game. So yeah, with the time, like my old trainer, my coach, which is very traditional, kind of open because himself and allowed this guy to teach them some BJJ. But yeah, personal for me, never had a bad experience because yeah, in the new gym, in the new dojo, like basically didn't communicate with anybody, and in my old dojo, there was already a guy that went through the same thing as me, so he kind of took all the shit,
right?
so I didn't have to, exactly.
And in the judo community, I think you mentioned something a little bit about that, so I want to ask you in record. What was the kind of general idea about or relationship from judo people about BJJ?
Well, from my personal experience, it was always kind of like looking over the shoulder, you know, like kind of like. We are here and BJJ guys have
looking down
there. Yeah, they were like, well, those guys, what the fuck they are doing, you know? I judo. I said to you, like, I think we tend to overrate ourselves, like judokas. Yeah. We think like we still can, and they were looking not on such a positive way. They were like, they're just losing their time, you know. For what? It was so funny how they were saying, you see, they are scared. They are always sitting down. They don't want to fight standing, you know. But yeah, definitely the opinion was not good about BJJ, which is, as I told you, for me it was a bit weird because maybe I'm the weird one because. For me, as a personal experience, I'm always interested about other martial arts and what they can give me, and what can I take from this martial art that is going to help me in my game. So same as I think you with Aikido, like what can I take from Aikido that can work in BJJ or something like that. But yeah, then the rest of the people was kind of like, oh no, if this comes from BJJ, is it useful? Yes, but we don't want it here anyways. Like. They even didn't care if it was useful or not. They just didn't want it. Doesn't matter what. We don't want anything. Like, don't make our judo dirty. You know, something like that. Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit more about your experience. Those first 2 months, you said were very hard.
Hard, yeah.
And I'll just add a couple more things because, again, we spoke about that off record. But many people feel alone in that experience. They feel like, I'm the only one going for this. I'm the only one getting disillusioned or getting destroyed, coming from a different martial art. From what I learned, it's a very universal journey. It's just that most people are having a hard time either finding someone to talk about that or just keeping it to themselves. So looking at your experience, first of all, like, how was that first night for you, like first BJJ class?
No, but well, that's kind of what, as I told you, that's why I felt so related with you because, as I told you, like I thought I was the only one. I was like, oh my god, like what's going on? I thought it was just my case, and then I saw that you also went through that same journey. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not the only one, you know. But I definitely didn't think that so many people was going through the same path. I thought it was something more strange.
Unusual,
but yeah, the first night I remember I was like, okay, I didn't take it so hard. I was like, maybe it's just I need to get used to it, you know. Like I was like, yeah, first day, like I was like, it's just the first day. I need to get, because also the rules are different. I was like, I need to get the rules. So I think that was even worse, not to accept the truth from the beginning, you know, because then I was like, every day that was passing, I didn't have any more excuses, you know.
Right. I'll jump in here very quickly because there's, again, one of those universal stories is that some sort of martial art goes to, like more traditional martial art usually, goes to combat sports. And like that story is very strong with BJJ. They try to fight the BJJ guy, they roll and they get tapped out, and they always think like, yeah, that was a lucky incident. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, now I'm gonna be fine. And then the second time they're like, no, let's do that again. And usually like the third time they're like, fuck.
Maybe there is something going
Right.
on. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but for you, so the first night you were in that mode of maybe
Yeah, it was
just
like
something in the line. And,
yeah, I was like, okay, first day, I need to learn the rules, I need to get adapted to the environment, blah blah blah. So yeah, just kind of making excuses, and yeah, like first week went by, second week went by, and I was like, okay, I think there is something going on. And it's like I don't think it's luck anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I was like,
Right. It's not a coincidence.
yeah.
So would you say that was like the hardest moment emotionally for you that after those couple of weeks, or was it just getting more frustrated?
Yeah, it was getting more frustrated. It got super frustrated because also the thing is that my gym in Spain, BGG gym, has a really good level, and the thing is like we have a lot of, like as I told you, two black belts, which is not really common.
Yeah.
Few brown belts, and it's really high level. So I was feeling like I was not improving, but because I'm training with the same people every day, so the thing is like I'm not only improving, they are also improving.
Yeah.
So I was fighting them, and weeks were passing. I was like, oh my god, I'm not improving. It's like I'm the same as when I started. But then I moved to another place, and I saw that my level was like, oh, like there you're always training with the same people. You think like you are not improving, but then I moved away. I went to train to another gym, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not that bad. Like I could see that I really improved, but in that close environment, I couldn't see it. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, I always recommend if you get frustrated in your improvement, just try to go out and try to see it from outside perspective, because yeah, maybe you are improving and you just don't see it, and that's what happened to me.
I'll chip in there as well. I think you're very right, and that very much happens in combat sports, especially in BJJ, where, as you said, everyone improves together,
at
and
the
you
same
feel
time,
like
yeah, exactly.
you're standing in the spot. And personally, I always think it's good to balance. There has to be a balance between failure and success. Like if you're always succeeding, then we're gonna get cocky, we're gonna get delusioned. And I think that happens in traditional martial arts often. You're just like, oh, I'm always pulling off these moves against a non-resisting opponent, I'm the best. And then suddenly you get hit in your face like, oh, this doesn't work. And then it's shocking. But if you're always getting destroyed, then it's really, really hard to kind of go through it emotionally and to stick with it.
Yeah, so too, like at the beginning I was like, I have this excuse, and yeah, after 2 weeks I was like, okay, there are no more excuses I can pull out. I was like, just go and accept the truth.
What do you feel kept you sticking to it and growing? Because again, a lot of people, well, a fair amount of people go through that similar journey, but a lot of traditional martial artists or people who come from less combative martial arts, they experience that getting destroyed, and then they
just
quit,
yeah.
go back to their own bubble. You stick for it, and it was, as you said, it was hard, like those 2 months. What kept you going and what helped you?
Interestingly, it was not so much BGG, it was more the community.
Okay.
What we were talking about, like, at the same time I was having online courses at university, all day sitting in front of the computer, just listening to the courses. And man, I was always looking forward for that time to go to BJJ class and just speak with my colleagues. How was your day? You know, in Spain we are really talkative people. Yeah. How was your week? How was everything? Oh man, so you want to stay after, and I can teach you some leg locks here and some. I think it was mainly the environment, and I'm not the only one actually. I've heard similar cases, especially at my gym, that people stay because of the environment. And okay, they first stayed because of the environment, and they ended up staying because of BJJ, you know. So that's what happened for me. They were so welcoming from the beginning, and I was so surprised. It was such a nice community that I was like, oh my god, I wanna. For me, it's what I tell you. Like when I was training like twice per day, every day, people were like, why are you doing that? You wanna be like a super athlete, something like that? And I was like, no, I do it just because I have a lot of fun. For me, it was just pure fun. It was like, instead of staying home, like watching a film, I was like, I need to go training because, we're making jokes, we're training, and yeah, it was like, it's training like with friends. So at the beginning, the community was what hooked me in, and then I started. The more I was staying, the more I was learning. So the more curiosity I was having, and that's what makes me go on, is the curiosity of improving and like, okay, what's there that new that I can learn? So
well, speaking about now, and well, we can go also in the middle, but closing into now. So you've been doing BJJ for about a year, very intensively again.
Yeah.
Was there a moment when you started to feel your judo kicking in, or is that still happening? How's that?
So, oh my God, I remember it was so funny because every time I was going to the ground, I was just going to turtle position, which is a really judoka thing to do.
Right.
And my BJJ coach was like, "Don't give your back," and seriously it took me like 2-3 months to, okay, every time I'm getting like I'm falling down and giving my back, just turn and go to like half guard or full guard or whatsoever. And I remember, man, for seriously every day for like 2 months, my coach was like, "Don't give your back." And we were rolling like maybe 20 people, and he was focusing on me. "Don't give your back," you know, like. So yeah, but at some point it's like a habit that I was always having. It was, you know, judo was automatic. Go to the ground, close yourself, start to position, till the ref puts you up again. That's it. So yeah, like my brain, my muscle memory was like, okay, you go to the ground, you go to turtle position. And then it was hard because, you know, when you have such a habit, it's a bit difficult to break it. And yeah, but my coach was insisting for like 2 months. I was like, yeah, stop giving your back. So yeah, now that was the main problem I was having, because giving your back in BJJ is like the worst thing you can do. So yeah, that was also affecting me, why people were thrashing me so easily. It was like, so I was giving them half of the work already. So yeah, that was the main judo thing that affected in my BJJ.
What about the positive? Like, what about you trying out judo moves and making them work?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was telling you, no, I wanted to tell you, like, not about judo is negative. Of course, it's for me. I can tell you, like, I'm probably the best at my gym in standing game because, as I told you, I think BJJ should train it more actually, standing game, because you can even see competitions. Okay, not in the high level, but like normal competitions, and you can see the guys just sitting down or trying to go for takedowns, but they don't even know what they are doing. So it's kind of like, maybe they go for a takedown that they don't know how to really do it, and they ended up in a bad position. So yeah, I think judo or wrestling or any kind of like standing game should be taught more in BJJ. And I see that more often people is tending to do that. For instance, in A-Force in Klaipeda, one day they asked me like to like once per week or once every 2 weeks they asked me to teach them some standing judo techniques. And you know, it's always I think again, the more you know, the better it is for your level. And yeah, I think if you get to be a really good BJJ guy plus having a really good standing game, I think you are a really complete athlete. And yeah, I always give the example of my BJJ coach, that he's a BJJ black belt, and also he competed in Sambo European tournaments and World Cups. So man, it's so frustrating with him because you are like, okay, I'm not so good in standing, I will go for the ground game, and he trashed you there. And you are like, okay, maybe with the standing game, and he trashed you there as well. So it's kind of like pretty much nothing to do. So so yeah, I really think that BJJ should, not should, but because they are already doing it. But yeah, like I think it's good that they are taking some judo or wrestling or whatsoever. Yeah.
So the last question then will be good to wrap up. So where are you at right now? What's your, let's say, emotional relationship with your martial arts journey in regards to judo and BJJ?
Difficult question. Well, right now I'm trying not like to be balanced between judo and BJJ, like practice it the same amount of time. But as I told you, like I don't like to lie to myself, and BJJ is way more welcoming. The environment is way better. So I usually see myself, I tend to go more for BJJ, but at the same time I don't wanna forget judo because yeah, like for instance. I was training like properly BJJ for like 4 or 5 months before I came back because of coronavirus, and then I could come back to my judo, and then in judo I was like not so good because again, rules change. I cannot go for the legs, I cannot do anything. So I was like, oh, now I have to remember everything. so sometimes when I'm mixing from judo to BJJ, it's a bit difficult to like get the rules, like remember the rules, and yeah. And for me right now, I will definitely go on with BJJ and with judo as well. But the thing is, like, even I try not to, I notice that I'm giving more priority to BJJ. But at the same time, I want to go on with judo because I'm near the black belt. So it's kind of like a personal dream, you know, like.
It's nice to complete that
Yeah,
journey to the black belt.
and being so close, you know, because if I will be farther away, maybe I would be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But being so close, I think it's a bit stupid just to quit.
Sure.
And I wouldn't like to completely quit, actually. I think it's always good to go, remember the things, remember the thing, remember the movements, and yeah, that's how you don't lose the... because, for example, as we were talking about the advantages on the standing game, I think if I would stop doing judo, I would lose the... Okay, I will still have my 2-3 throws that always work, but then I will lose the rest of the throws. Because, for instance, in judo, there are so many throws, so yeah, like maybe you will stay with the 3 that works for BJJ, but then all of the rest of the takedowns, you are not using them. So I think it's always good to go, remember. So yeah, for instance, I was training BJJ. Every time I was coming to my home city, I was going to my old dojo and training judo for like 1, 2, 3 weeks. And yeah, I always felt better when I was coming back to BJJ after training judo. I was like, okay, now I'm back to the memory. I know everything. I know the techniques. So yeah, I think speaking about myself, I would like to manage to balance both things. And even though I'm focusing a bit more in BJJ. Yeah.
Nice. Well, just to finish up, just wanted to say on record that it's really great that you're able to look at your experience and to talk about it. I mean, we spoke about it before, but you're also able to talk about it on record, and I really appreciate that because, yeah, a lot of people go through that experience of getting disillusioned, of not matching their expectations with reality, but not everyone is capable of understanding what's happening, verbalizing it. So it's great that you're...
Yeah, for me, I think there shouldn't be this fear of just accepting the truth. You know, for me, I could notice that I was like, no, this cannot be, like I cannot believe it. And I was resisting so hard to accept what was going on. And I think that people that go through the same journey that you and I have been through, I think there is nothing bad about seeing what's going on and saying, okay, maybe this doesn't work, but that doesn't, again, I just got, my expectations about judo were higher than what reality is, but that doesn't mean that I don't like judo. I love judo, that's the thing. But just, you know, things are not like you thought they were, that's it. Accept that fact and don't overthink about it. And yeah, I just think that people... Because yeah, like, as we spoke about people denying the truth and just not accepting what's going on, I think that's the main problem. Because there is nothing bad about if, as I told you, like if you want to do judo all your life and be a judo competitor and that you will be in your bubble in judo and you don't want to learn anything else, then it's completely fine. I don't see anything bad about that. But then if you think that maybe judo or your martial art is better than the other ones, you need to accept that probably they are not. And when you will face a guy that is doing another martial art or another combat sport, you will see that reality is not how you thought it was. And it's nothing but to admit that, to say, okay, this is how reality really is, and that's it.
Well, thank you for the conversation.
Thank you. Ačiū.